Benny Blanco, Marshmallow, and a host of others there teaming up for that one. It is Country Viewpoint here on FlowFM. Helen Dalton, the member for Murray. Let's continue our chat with her. I caught up with her earlier, and we went through the ABARES report, which was good news in its entirety for New South Wales. 527% increase in the amount of grain harvested year on year, but also big increases in cotton and rice. Now, cotton in particular, I asked Helen about the situation with water for cotton growers in the north compared to in the south, and whether or not it was a source of frustration for her and her constituents.
It is. What we want is metering and monitoring of water coming into storages, and we want some of the rules that are around the Water Management Act 2000 adhered to. Now, in the south, and what we call the Southern Connected System, we are fully metered, and there is a little bit of floodplain harvesting in the south, but it's below the cap, and the cap tells us that talks about extraction, so you can't take more water than the cap. So in the north, we don't really know how much water has been taken when there's a floodplain event because there's no metering and monitoring. I believe that the government is busily trying to do that. They've had 20 years to do that work and lots, hundreds of millions of dollars over that time to do the work, and they've kicked the can down the road, and it's really been a failure of government. And here it is, it's D-Day, and people they want some assurity. They want to know what the rules are, and the rules are very, very murky.
There's more blaming than planning going on in the north when it comes to consecutive governments, I think you could say. I mean, Labor government before this Liberal government was much the same. It was always somebody else's fault, normally Queensland's, when it comes to floodplain harvesting. But clearly it's just beyond that now. Let's just get it done so that everyone's on a level playing field. Is that what we're asking for? That's right, and it needs to be. How can you have a Murray-Darling Basin plan when you really don't know how much water's in the system and where it's going and how it's accounted for? While we're talking water, why don't we stay on that topic, because I believe you're about to have a fourth crack at trying to get a water register up and going. And this is not something which is a throwaway tokenistic attempt. You're going about it a slightly different way this time, aren't you? We'll, try and introduce it again. Hopefully the numbers will change, but we never give up on actually making the point that we need a water register. And as we're getting along and I'm learning more and more about what's happening, we now realise that foreign companies that own water are dodging capital gains tax on water profits. So that is really a big failure as well, because the Australian Tax Office knows that. Well, Australian farmers are competing against what I regard as a subsidy for foreign companies if they know that they can trade permanently and temporarily and not have to pay tax. You know, we want our young people to be able to afford water. Foreign companies have a real hand up. From your information, which foreign country is the biggest holder of Australian water? Canada is the biggest, I think. Yep. But there's, I think between all those countries, it's something like around 10, 11%. But we don't actually know because we haven't got this water register, which we absolutely need. Member for Murray there, Helen Dalton on Country Viewpoint, and keep an eye out for that full interview on our website. We'll have more of it for you next week and via our podcast channel on Spreaker, flownews24.com.au. That's where the link will be. It is Country Viewpoint here on Flow FM.